We are battle-born in Las Vegas. One game down on CBS, and coming up, the second one should be a great one. Trilogy and Power here on CBS. Let's take a look at the updated standings. A huge win for Tri-State earlier today against the Killer Threes. So they're at 5-2. Trilogy on their heels. It is packed atop the Big Three standings here in week number 7. Welcome back inside Orleans Arena. Ed Cohen with the Hall of Famer, Triplets head coach Lisa Leslie. I'm not going to say Trilogy's been the best team, and that would not be music to your ears, but they've looked really good, and a big matchup here with Power. Lisa, they really need this game, currently 3-3.
Well, everybody needs this game, and it's so important, but Power has had to change different players due to injuries and things like that, whereas, you know, with Trilogy, they've been really consistent, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out with this win today.
Well, let's take a look at the rosters for these two teams, beginning with Trilogy. Roster breakdown presented by PNC Bank. There's the captain, Jarrett Jack, with his running mates, notably Isaiah Briscoe off the bench, James White as well. But in terms of overdraft protection, Lisa, Jarrett Jack returning in Chicago on Saturday last week, and boy, did he deliver for Trilogy.
Jarrett Jack's been doing it all, and I think it's just his ability to get to the basket, whether it's the pull-up, the mid-range he has, he can get to the basket on the smalls, and also he's a good passer, making his teammates better, and can also knock down the three. So Jarrett Jack, really a guy who can get it done inside and out.
Roster breakdown from Power, presented by PNC Bank. Katina Mobley has battled injury throughout this season. He's available. Big Baby Davis in the mix as well. But you talk about the real star lately for Power. It has been the Serbian sensation. You talk about overdraft protection. It's Dušan Bulut.
Well, Bulut has all the bullets because he can shoot. And he's been knocking down jumpers inside the three, but also outside the three, the long range. But he's also moved so well without the ball and really putting a lot of pressure on the defense because he does a lot of things really well. But you know who's the best? Lady Magic's out there leading the way, and if she can get anybody to the playoffs, she's going to do her best to get them there.
On the other side is Action Jackson, Steven Jackson with Spider Salad. John.
Jack, we're sitting here. You got Jarrett Jack back. It's a very important day. We need a scorer like you on your team, though, to help him.
Well, Jack has been our captain. He's been leading our team. A big win last week against Ghost Ballers. And without him, we don't have a shooter, we don't have a scorer. So having him back is a big plus for us.
Okay, so what do you feel today? Because Big Baby is in there looking like he's taking up the whole lane.
Big Baby's back. This is his second game, so I plan on him being a problem out there. But we got to continue to move fast. They're a wounded team. They got a lot of guys hurt right now, so we got to take advantage of that.
All right, nice bling.
Thanks, appreciate it.
You should get it in diamonds next time.
John, that was good. That was good that time. He's always looking so nice over there, Jack on the bench with the bling.
I mean, you guys, the coaches in this league, I don't know if it's a competition as Mobley gets Power on the board, but between Dr. J, yourself, Nancy Lieberman.
Hey, watch out now. You know what the great Deion Sanders said, you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. You play good, what? They pay good.
That's it.
I may not pay anymore, but I still got to look good so I can get paid good over your head.
She is Lisa Leslie. I'm Ed Cohen, John Sally, our entire CBS crew. And this is how Power got on the board.
Yeah, the first play was a turnover, so Mobley, you already know Cat's going to know exactly where the basket is. And as Dušan Bulut knocks down the, was that a three? Couldn't see, or maybe it was a long range two.
He's got every part of that game. The three, mid-range game, Bulut, 17 points per game, first three with Power. Olympic bronze in 3x3. Oh, what a block by White. Jarrett Jack missed the bunny. Here's James White, loads it up. Mobley with the board. Bulut, zero hesitation. And Dušan Bulut nails the three. Good start. 7-0 for Power.
7-0, that's the way you want to start, especially when you're the team who really needs to win more than anyone else. And when you look at Dušan Bulut, he does a nice job, step back. Oh, he kind of traveled into that, but that's okay. Nobody saw it but me on the replay. Nice job of knocking down the three ball.
Putting on your officiating hat. I like it.
Yeah, well, Sometimes we miss those little travels. But he's definitely a shooter and really proven why he's considered one of the best players, 3-on-3 players in the world.
Made his debut week 4 in Dallas. Dušan Bulut, nice cut, a running hook shot, banks it in against James White, and putting his stamp already on the early segment of this game. 9-2 Power. Jarrett Jack taking Mobley off the dribble, playing through the contact. Jarrett Jack with the finish.
And that's a nice drive. Jack recognizing Cuttino Mobley might not be at 100%, but he's going to come out here and give his team all that he had, but he may be a liability on defense.
And Mobley missed week 3. Right leg injury. Finds Bulut. Hits another 3. Dušan Bulut and Power. A great start. 12-4. And this guy scored 10 points already.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bulut's living up to his name because he came out fully loaded, folks, knocking down jumpers with the slip. They're off the glass. And then you see him from long range outside, knocking down threes. You better get a hand up, man.
Coming up next here on CBS, we go from the court to the course, where some of the best golfers in the world compete in North Carolina. Next stop on the PGA Tour, the Wyndham Championship. Coming up next, right here on CBS. Here in Las Vegas, second game of the day, and Power, what a start. 12-4 lead right now on Trilogy. Each week, fans can help select the Microsoft Big 3 Player of the Week. You can go online to big3.com or Big 3 social media accounts to vote. We'll reveal the result from Week 7 next Saturday. And Lisa Leslie, I think one guy making a strong case early in this one is Dušan Bulut of Power.
Well, the Bulut has come out shooting 2 for 2 from three-point range. Nice cut off the glass. You better say 2 for 2 from three-point range, or 4 for 4 from the field. He's done a nice job. And look, given what the defense is giving him, he's knocking down baskets. But it's going to be important for the defense. They have to step it up. Trilogy's going to have to do a better job. You already know what he's capable of doing.
Jack was trying to make something happen, penetrating to free up Johnson, but Power able to stifle it underneath. Big baby, Cuttino Mobley, Bulut for Power. Jack hangs and finishes. Jarrett Jack, Amir Johnson, James White for Trilogy.
Well, it's going to be tough when they do that pick and roll for Big Baby to try to switch out. So they may need to do more of that for Trilogy if they want to be effective.
Good thought there, but cat's pass getting away from Big Baby. This man began playing 3-on-3 as a kid. That's what they do in Serbia. Not so much 5-on-5, and just the roots, the way he sees the game, half-court 3-on-3. So evident as the 4-point shot missed by Johnson, but White swooping in for Trilogy.
And that time, White putting that shot up, but doing a nice job of just reacting and getting second chance opportunities. And when your team's not shooting well, sometimes those are the things you have to rely on, getting on the boards.
Mobley just grazing the iron, but it's out of bounds. And Mobley's going to get a breather. In comes Derek Byers.
Jarrett Jack thought the ball was going to be taken out up top, so a little late to that play.
Bulut looking. His adjustment to the big 3 has been so quick. Off his back foot, nails it. He has not missed.
Well, the good thing is that he's putting a lot of pressure, and he's recognized that the big 3, he talked about it, wanting to play here, wanting to play against the best of the best, and this is something that, hey, he's got to do. The biggest challenge is him getting better defensively because he pushed Jarrett Jack while in the air. Jack didn't like that much.
Working on the left leg now of Cuttino Mobley. Keep an eye on Power's captain. Byers had the pick and roll, but the floater's good for Derek Byers. The reinforcements for Power between Byers, Bulut joining midseason. The guys they've lost, it's been a long list. And Byers, the latest entry onto the roster. Big Baby poked it away. Jack high-stepped him and then air-mailed James White. Trilogy is a little disjointed here in the early going.
They're definitely disjointed, but who's not is Power, doing a nice job. Dušan saying, hey, there's no help defense, just looking. And I like the fact that he looked at Johnson just to figure out what he wanted to do, and then here defensively, putting Jack, you know, in a tough position, and then there Jack throws the ball away out of bounds.
Wanted a foul, didn't get it. Johnson times out the rebound and sticks it. And Bulut looking at Nancy Lieberman and the official saying, hey, where's the foul? 16-12 Power in game 2 of the day, and Byers, in escaping the screen, is fouled by James White.
Well, now Steven Jackson making some adjustments, subbing in Briscoe, who also one of their best players, who's led scoring on several games.
Bulut collects. Floater, teardrop from the edge of the paint for Dušan. Bulut is good. He's missed only one shot, and now with 14 points.
14 points, and he's running them off quickly. This isn't happening just, you know, every second. It seems like he's scoring another point. So it's going to be important for Trilogy to step it up defensively.
Darnell Jackson, along with Byers and Bulut. 4-point circle off the screen. Bulut, the bounce, Jackson, the roll. Good D by Trilogy. It's going to be Power with 2 to shoot.
Well, nice job, but Dušan Bulut just being active. Here he is on the boards, keeping a hand on it, putting it back. The accuracy's there. He's definitely making a push for why he's considered, you know, one of the best 3-on-3 player in the world. He's prolific with his offense and very consistent. And Byers knocked down a 3-point shot there.
Lisa, to your point, you know, Nancy Lieberman's team just waiting to get Bulut over to the big 3 after he finished up with the Olympic team with Serbia. We knew the height, and you think about the great players in the best professional 3-on-3 league in the world right now in the big 3. He has fit right in, and you could see why he's been so special around the world. Here's his defense.
And he's also doing a nice job keeping the offense in front of him, and every single time Jack has crossed over, he's gotten a hand on that ball, and that time it actually went off on Jack.
21-12, Power. Bulut loops it. Byers up and under. Tough shot. Derek Byers nails it in traffic.
Do you think that these players understand the urgency of getting to the Bahamas? You can see it in every single play that it's playoff mode.
Briscoe losing his balance. Bulut just shielding him and guiding him out. And a turnover that Steven Jackson does not like for Trilogy.
Well, it would have been nice for Briscoe just to try and throw the ball into his teammate, but instead he held on to it and fell out of bounds. And so you leave it up to the officials to make the call.
First to 25, gets us to halftime. Bulut doesn't get that to go, but he's fouled by Briscoe, and now a 2-point shot coming up for Dušan Bulut. James White yelling fire. Wants
well,
to
you
bring
get a
it.
chance to bring the fire, and this is an opportunity for him to do it.
There it is.
Oh, here we go. Bring the fire. And you got Bulut. Listen, he's been hot this whole time. Are you sure you really want to challenge him one-on-one right now?
Taco Bell, bring the fire. Here are the rules. You can challenge a shooting foul. 2 players go one-on-one. Offensive player gets 1 shot. If Briscoe gets a stop, no points. If Bulut makes it or is fouled, gets the 2 points, and will also bring us to the break.
Well, the other thing is Briscoe, who's a much more physical defender, will really try to body him up and possibly get a foul. But you know whoa, here we go with the fadeaway.
Oh,
yeah.
Tough.
Well, Briscoe, I knew, would come with a tougher defensive position against Bulut and not allow him to get to the basket. He's definitely the most physical guard and one of the most physical guards in the whole league at his size.
So success will bring the fire from Steven Jackson. Briscoe The switch and around and through. Isaiah Briscoe, chance at 3 for Trilogy.
Well, if Trilogy really wants to get back in this game, they're going to need a lot more of that. One-on-one, just taking it to the basket strong, trying to get a foul as well as making that basket.
Lisa, you mentioned his big performances this year. 28 week 1 for Isaiah Briscoe, and then 22 last week. Victory in Chicago against the Ghost Ballers. A 3-point play. Power 23, Trilogy 15.
Yes, and Steven Jackson's done a good job of using him and Jack opposite of each other usually, but there are certain times in their second half that they usually play together. Well, because they were down by so much, they had to bring him in, and still not enough to slow Power down.
Byers sticks the 3. How about Bulut and Byers combining for 24 of the 26 first half points for Power? Mobley, they're working on him on the bench. What a performance by those two for Power.
Well, the efficiency for Power has been great. Byers to the rim, and Bulut has not disappointed with his shots, and Briscoe says, hey, I can do that too. 26-15 at the half.
The Big Three on CBS Sports is sponsored by Air Force Reserve. Explore your opportunities with the Air Force Reserve.
From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, Power at the break, leading Trilogy 26-15, second of the day on CBS. Well, next Saturday on CBS, it's the last week of the regular season in the Big Three, and the push to the playoffs, it is certainly on. Who's in? Who will be sent home? Postseason berths up for grabs in the Big Three. It's next Saturday at 1 here on CBS. As for Power, good first half. Head coach Nancy Lieberman is mic'd up.
Hey, keep the pressure on them. You guys are going to be going in, okay? Keep the pressure on him. No, call that. Call that. Be aggressive.
Hall of Famer who's won a Big Three championship along with another in Lisa Leslie. Always great to hear Lady Magic on the sideline.
Well, you know, it's about keeping the pressure on and staying aggressive. And Nancy just constantly repeating that, trying to keep that for their team. They know how important this win is this afternoon.
Nancy Lieberman can certainly appreciate a great playmaking guard in that first half. Dušan Bulut, just unbelievable. He strikes again. He was nearly perfect, Lisa, from the field.
He was nearly perfect, but he brought all the bullets today. The three-point shot from behind there, shooting 2 of 3. The defense with the hands, just constantly getting the ball on Jarrett Jack's ball to make him have that turnover and forcing that. Byers did a nice job also stepping up. He has 10 points. Dušan just put so much pressure on the defense with his ability to score from the outside as well as on the inside.
14 for Bulut. Byers with 10 off the bench. Power had to bridge the gap. Katina Mobley left midway through the first half. They worked on his left leg, but the good news is the captain is back. He's played through injury throughout this 2021 season. So Bulut, Mobley, and Byers for Power. They're in black. Mobley turnaround and strokes it over Briscoe.
And I love the fact that Coutinho is just instant offense. No matter when he comes in, no matter how many minutes he gives you his all.
Jack can't answer. White could have been an over-the-back foul. Briscoe swoops in and scores for Trilogy.
Well, that box out really was a hold in the box out, so really cleared out the space for the offensive rebound.
Might see that more so in the Raiders preseason game tonight. This is Mobley, offensive foul, posting up on Briscoe.
And Coutinho's like, what's the call? The offensive foul was on him holding, but you know, the vet is looking like, excuse me, you know what, that wasn't a foul, but he's holding. That's a veteran move.
Coutinho Mobley hit the game winner for the championship in Brooklyn 3 years ago. Power winning the title. 45 years young. Isaiah Briscoe, 25 years old. The scoop not there, and the late whistle and the foul whistled on Derek Byers. And Briscoe gets a 2-point shot here for Trilogy.
That was a really late whistle, and Steven Jackson was about to be on the court if they hadn't called that foul. But Briscoe doing a nice job staying aggressive, getting to the basket.
By the way, Lisa, worth noting, Vegas has become a professional sports city in a very short amount of time between Vegas Golden Knights in the NHL, Las Vegas Aces, WNBA Big Threes here this summer. Las Vegas Raiders, well, last year was their first year in Vegas as Bulut misses. White picks it up and scores. Just a hanging chad goes down for James White.
Yes, and this is a fight right now inside every single possession. Guys are working hard, and they're yelling at the officials because they want the foul called. But again, White doing a nice job staying with it. And that ball, a little bit of luck. We are in Vegas. Drops right in.
Big night in town. You have the Raiders playing the Seahawks. First time because of last year's pandemic season. You'll have the fans, full house at Allegiant Stadium as Mobley sinks the three. A little stare down of Briscoe after knocking it down, and Power leading by 10.
So strong, and Mobley again knocking down that three. Tough to rotate and help.
Jack over Mobley. Jarrett Jack drills it. And Trilogy hanging tough, down 31-24.
And this is the beauty of the big three, that to get to 50 points, obviously the first team trying to get there, but it's never over, and it's a game of runs. And any team can be down by 15, 20, and a team can also come back.
Bulut, good D, but Briscoe got a little bit of the arm, and Bulut drawing the foul going across the lane.
And I'm not sure why Briscoe's yelling, because it was clearly a foul on the arm. It was kind of a hard foul because he came down with it. But they could always bring the fire if you don't like the call. Remember, you have that challenge, 1 per half.
Let me ask you this, because the early weeks of the season was so new for everybody. As a coach, what have you learned about the rule in terms of how effective it can be mid-game, challenging to take some points away off the board?
Well, it can be helpful depending on who the matchup is and when you use it. And it really is about strategy more than anything else.
Steven Jackson trying to figure out an answer for Bulut. Power leads it in Vegas. Power in front. Let's listen again to the head coach, Lady Magic, Nancy Lieberman.
Cat, it's not going to last long. How can they be manhandled over here and you're going to call that? Call it both ways, the physicality, or don't call the little ticky-tack stuff.
Nancy's on the officials, and you know, I mean, she has some valid points of that. It's been a little bit more physical, but then sometimes you'll see a touch foul. But I think the officials, sitting here watching it on camera, they're getting it right. Some fouls have been, you know, very obvious. It may not be a hard foul, but it's a touch foul. It alters someone's shot. And then there's some physicality that happens on the inside that's being created by both players. And so sometimes when we're in the coach's seat, we may not see it all, but I think the officials really, me having this opportunity to watch it here, doing a great job.
Lisa, as Johnson converts on the pick and roll, I mean, you're Nancy Lieberman. How do you argue with that? Clear, to the point. You know, Brooklyn-born does not mince words.
Well, she's a baller, so you know, you never lose that mentality.
Speaking of which, Bulut, no, foul shooting a 4-point shot by Isaiah Briscoe, and Steven Jackson up out of his seat, does not even hesitate. Let's see if he decides to bring the fire.
Well, he can bring the fire, but the problem is he was attempting a 4-point shot. So the one-on-one would actually mean that if he's able to score or get fouled, the Power would get 4 points. So you either do that or he'll just shoot from 4, which I think the odds of him making the 4 is probably lower than him scoring one-on-one. You don't want to get him closer to the basket. So good job for Steven Jackson not bringing the fire.
4-point shot on the free throw. Got it. Dušan Bulut. So he played the averages the right way, but Bulut dials in again.
Bulut fully loaded today, knocking down all the jumpers. And he said, give me a 4-point shot with no defense, no problem. Let's take another look at it. Oh, all net. That ball didn't even hit the rim, Ed. Like, he is not playing today. Don't disrespect this man. He said, I'm the best at 3-on-3 in the world.
Critical game for Power in their playoff push, up by 13 right now on Trilogy in Las Vegas. Don't forget, head over to Triller and Fight to watch the rest of this week's Big Three games. Immediately following the CBS broadcast, you'll have chances to win cash and prizes all season long. Scan the QR code now or text BIG to 75303 to sign up for text and enter the Big Three Bring the Fire promotion. Well, Lisa Leslie, you think of MVP candidates in the Big Three. I have a feeling who you're going to say should win it again, but between Barbosa's debut year with the Ball Hogs, with Dante Green's done in recent weeks, got some real firepower at the top.
Absolutely, and it's a tough race. And then you also look at Dušan, who's not on that list only because he joined the Big Three late. He possibly could be on this list. So, yeah, obviously, ISO Joe, he's been phenomenal all season long. And very consistent. And what I love also is that he's improved. Like, his numbers are even better than 2 years ago in his rebounding. You know, being top, leading the league, also 1 or 2 in rebounding. But there's definitely a lot of tough competition out there. You could also argue Evans has had a great season as well.
Amir Johnson. Boy, Jack drew the attention. And Johnson throwing it down easily. But back to Bulut, he has scored 22. Putting his mark on this game once again for Power. A game they really need with a 3-3 record. Mobley has Big Baby. The roll, missed the finish, didn't hit the rim, and Johnson cleaning it up for Trilogy.
Yeah, Big Baby looking a little bit not quite himself. Obviously, he hasn't been here for a while, so his rhythm's off a little bit.
Ball knocked down. It's going to stay with Power. 9 on the shot clock. Ed Cohen, Lisa Leslie, John Sally with you here on CBS. Big Baby, Bulut, and Mobley here for Power. Bulut, they try and double him to the corner, the launch, and it came after the shot clock expired. Violation of Power.
Well, he's actually human and missed a contested 3-point shot.
It's really the only way to stop him. Hope the clock can do so. Jack, teardrop, Jarrett Jack nails it. By the way, congrats to Jarrett Jack. He's going to join Monty Williams' staff this coming season as an assistant with the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, that's awesome. We have so many men in this league who are actually coaches as well, so we wish him the best of luck.
Mobley couldn't connect over Jack. Jack, pull up 3. And Big Baby tracking it down. Mobley at the block. In his area against Jack. Cat turnaround, no. Rebound and dish. Big Baby is going to shoot a 2-point shot.
And here's a good opportunity, I think, for Trilogy again to bring the fire, because Big Baby not quite in the best shape that he wants to be in. Maybe a little bit too tired for that one-on-one challenge.
He's been known as Big Baby since his days growing up in Baton Rouge at the age of 9. Hits the 2-point shot. And Lisa, born, raised, schooled at LSU in Baton Rouge.
He's a down by the bayou baby, huh?
He is still a big baby, no doubt. Jack at Byers beat. Byers recovering. Applies the foul for Power. That's only team foul number 3. So Trilogy not yet in the bonus.
And Power doing a nice job of playing without fouling as well, because that's a big key in this league. When the teams have the opportunity to get into the bonus and capitalize on free throws, they can close the lead.
Nice look, Jack to White. Power 41, Trilogy 34, and again, Trilogy came into this game with the top scoring margin in the Big Three. Power needing this to really stay alive for the playoffs in the Bahamas. Bullet against White, defended three. Good contest.
Nice contest, and it still almost went in. Wow.
Jack, running floater again. Jarrett Jack beginning to get going. Trilogy closing to within 5, and Jack now with 15. A 10-2 Trilogy run.
And Trilogy really taking advantage, picking up their defensive intensity, as you can see, really trying to slow Dušan down.
Speeding bullet.
Wow, unable to. I mean, that was just a toss-up shot that goes right in over 6'11". That is amazing. Amir Johnson.
He's been at this a long, long time. Jack answers. The captain has delivered. Remember, he didn't play in Milwaukee in week 5. They lost that game, returned in week 6, and they won against the Ghost Ballers. And Jarrett Jack taking over for Trilogy down the stretch. Running through Big Baby. Bullet the cut. Throws it up. Almost. Just not enough English. But again, the movement without the ball. 2-point shot. But before that, Steven Jackson. What's he going to do, Lisa?
Why would he bring the fire? So you're going to put Bullet against Amir Johnson. That's a tough matchup. Not sure that I would have done that, but the Taco Bell bring the fire is happening again, folks.
All right, Amir Johnson, hold on for dear life. 6'9", guarding the speeding Bullet at 6'3". Ten seconds to shoot. You have 3 seconds to dribble inside the arc. Here we go. Bullet. The blow by. The runner. No! Johnson staying with him. Good deny. And Steven Jackson brings the fire with a little help from Amir Johnson.
It definitely works. Bullet just somehow left that a little short on the basket. He's kicking himself for missing that. Really easy layup, it looked like.
Jack trying to answer. So Darnell Jackson in, along with Bullet and Mobley. Jackson. Take the give, the drive. Tried to strong arm it in. Good D by James White. Johnson the roll. Through contact, just missed. But he's going to get a 2-point shot. And Trilogy hanging in there, still down by 5.
Still hanging in there, but Amir Johnson has to finish that and get that and one at the basket. All about the little chips, guys. We're gonna need some dip when these big fellas start missing the chippies at the basket.
The man from Inglewood, out of Westchester High School, sticks the 2-point shot. Lisa, good one. 43-40 Power leading Trilogy here in Vegas.
Yes, and Catino Mobley's back in for the consistency that Power is missing right now. That's the man you don't want to foul because he's such a good free throw shooter. But again, you got to give Trilogy a lot of credit as we see the man of the hour of every hour.
Ice Cube. He's going to talk with John Sally after this game here on CBS. What an exciting time. Week 7 in the Big Three, the playoff push. 2 weeks from now, everyone will descend, the top 4 teams, to the Bahamas for the 2-weekend playoffs and championship. Cube with Spider after this one. Into the home stretch. Power up by 5 on Trilogy. This is the second of 4 games here in Vegas. Coming up on Triller and Fight TV, the third one, Ball Hogs and the Three-Headed Monsters, followed by Lisa Leslie to the sideline, triplets, and the Ghost Ballers from Orleans Arena.
Yeah, it's two really good games that are up to be played. I mean, everybody literally fighting to get to the playoffs. So it's going to be a nice matchup for the Ball Hogs and the Three-Headed Monsters. And then again, we're facing the Ghost Ballers, who unfortunately is without Mike Taylor, because I really wish he could have played. I love Mike Taylor and all that he's done this season.
Here's Kevin Murphy. He's had a terrific year for the Three-Headed Monsters, currently 5th in the Big Three in scoring. So that's coming up. Speaking of which, our monster moment of the game, fueled by Terrible's Convenience Stores. And Lisa Leslie, let's go back to game one. Killer threes and Tri-State Justin Dedman. This was for halftime.
Dedman was all the way in the bag today, and it's the 4-point shot where Dedman was like, hey, coach, I've been working on this. And then there was Sanders with the defensive block to get Dedman that ball, the nice hustle out. Everybody in the gym loving every minute of it. 4-point shot.
Big victory for Tri-State, their 5th win. Power trying to hold a 5-point lead right now. Lady Magic is mic'd up in Vegas.
Box out, box out. Long rebounds, guys. You got to shoot it. Hey, you got to talk to him. I don't know why we're going away from what makes us successful.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what Nancy Lieberman has done, Lisa, with this ever-changing roster. The injuries, Joe Alexander, Royce White, as Jack hits the runner. Trilogy chipping away. It's a 3-point game.
3-point game, it's never over, and that's the beauty of it. I was talking about it earlier. No matter how much you get down, 15 or 20 points, there's always a possibility to come back. Game of runs, misses, rebounds, and hustle plays.
Jack against Mobley. Jarrett Jack. Pull up over Cat. Rim down. Bullet with the rebound. Darnell Jackson with Bullet and Mobley for Power. Power's in and scores, and the foul on Amir Johnson. Maybe a traveling call that was not whistled. What a move by Johnson.
Wow, yeah, nice move on the inside for Jackson, but I thought he shuffled his feet a little there. He was holding on, a little tippy toe, it stayed down on the ground. Nice inside move for Jackson.
Kansas product, veteran of 3 NBA seasons. Point game for Power. Needs to get to 50 to win. And this is Bullet with the foul against Jarrett Jack. Dušan Bulut, the star, with 24 for Power. But now it's the challenge of closing it out.
And now that it's close, both teams having to attack the basket and close the gap. That's going to be important for Trilogy to try to get a stop here. Defense, you got to hang your hat on it if you want to get a win.
Timeout, Nancy Lieberman. It's a point game for Power. 47-44 lead against Trilogy. Again, if you lose this game, if you're Power, that drops you below 500, makes it so hard to get into the playoffs. You need so much to go right next week here in Las Vegas, but still, they're 3 points away.
And it's so funny because Steven Jackson coming over here just trying to see was there a travel that happened, which we all thought, but when, you know, again, we have the luxury of watching replays, and so it was not a travel. And again, score stands 47-44.
Lisa, a logjam atop the Big Three standings here in Week 7.
Well, you look at it in Power at 3-3. They get the win. They're 4-3. But still, 1, 2, 3, so many teams still ahead. There's really no guarantees of what 4 teams are actually going to make it to the Bahamas. And you can see why every minute counts for both teams.
And for you guys, your triplets will close the day here in Las Vegas against the Ghost Ballers, trying to turn the page. Tough loss last week in Chicago against the Killer Threes. Pretty amazing the run you guys have been on. Only 2 losses in team history.
Well, it is tough, and it's tough to lose. And I tell you what, if we have to jump ball it again, having a game on Thursday against the tough 3-headed monsters and then a tough game again on Saturday, our guys were beat, but you know, they retired, but so was everybody. So no excuses. We'll be better today for sure.
Mobley couldn't hit. Jack with the rebound. Point game for Power, but Trilogy still within 3. Jack lost the handle. Mobley scoops it up. Big Baby trying to keep it in, could not. So back-to-back turnovers, and Trilogy will have the basketball.
Wow, now that was just a flurry of turnovers and slip-ups. It almost looks like there's banana peels on the floor. Again, Trilogy with an opportunity.
Jack sizing up Bullet. Jarrett Jack, the captain, breaking him down. The drive doesn't go. Power can win it with a 3.
Well, you should know that Bullet is the guy you don't want to have the ball, but a lot of time.
Oh, the turnover going to Big Baby. Jack puts it in. It's a 1-point game. Trilogy has not held a lead. Timeout, Stephen Jackson. Wow, a rare miscue there by Bullet looking for Big Baby, and Trilogy still with life.
Well, again, Big Baby not able to jump. He had 2 guys on him. He tossed it up, but the ball hung in the air a little long, and the ball's up, but still, you got to give Amir Johnson a lot of credit. Athletic, able to make the play, going from showing on the screen and getting back to his man. Puts them in position, down 1 point, and they are now going to rely on their defense. Can they get the defensive stop that they need to stop Power?
There are the game trends. Power has led by as many as 13. And Trilogy, it's been such a great season. Best scoring margin in the Big 3, 4-2 record coming in. Can they really pull one out of the hat here in Vegas? Remember, it's a game in which if they get the ball back, they can win with a 4-point shot.
4-point shot. We haven't seen Jack shoot one today. White capable. We saw Amir Johnson actually attempt a 4-pointer for a Trilogy. But it's going to come down right now to defense. Will they get the ball and let Bullet go, or is it going to be Big Baby with one of these screens forcing the switch?
First to 50.
And then there's Coutinho, the veteran, who we know can step back and knock down a 3 easily.
What a shoot, does not get the shot away. Trilogy with the stop. They can win again, down by 1 point, but 4 points from 50.
And it puts a lot of pressure on Trilogy. Do you?
With a huge win in Las Vegas.
Gosh. Who would have thought that Trilogy would come back after the performance of Dušan Bulut, buckets from everywhere, but you can never count out the heart and the fight of a lion led by Stephen Jackson. His emotion is so contagious. Jarrett Jack fighting all the way. Wow, just wow, that was a great, great game.
Well, they say Captain Jack will get you by tonight. might take it to that special island known as the Bahamas. Jarrett Jack, game winner. What a thriller over Power.
That was outstanding. And Jarrett Jack just with the poise down the stretch. There you see teammates so excited. The beautiful thing is that, like I said, it's never over in the Big Three, and any team can come back. And if you have Jarrett Jack on your team, well, John Sally, let him do what he do.
Hey, I'm a rambling rep from Georgia Tech too, but man, you make it exciting. That was big.
We had to walk him down, Sal. I honestly want to say that performance for my son. I found out he tested positive for COVID today, so I had a lot going on in my head, but shout out to my family. I know they're going to take care of Maya, Mom, Dad, Justin, Tanya, everybody. So, you know, Nash, that was for you right there.
All right, you trailed the whole game. We heard that you're going to be a coach now. You're not going to be on the court doing this anymore.
Yeah.
This was your goal in a way. Well, we do have Bahamas.
That's not a bad what they call that, a care package or whatever. So if I gotta go off that way, man, I wouldn't mind it. These band of dudes, man, we fought all game long. Shout out to Dušan Bulut, but Derek Byers, their whole squad, man, they're tough, man. Well coached, they stay poised. We was able to just outlast them a little bit.
You made me proud today. Good.
You know what, baby? G-Tech for life, baby.
All right, baby.
One of the great basketball citizens, Jarrett Jack. What a performance. Game winner. And Lisa Leslie, 3 teams now with 5 wins, Tri-State and Trilogy. Winners here in Las Vegas, and just a thriller down the stretch for the captain.
Well, that was an awesome game and an awesome comeback, because Power, they're going to look at that and try and figure out what went wrong. They were leading the whole way, but somewhere along the line, the heart and the fight of Trilogy prevailed.
No, Trilogy didn't lead until they snatched it in the final moments, and here it is, Jarrett Jack for the win. Ice Cube, we'll hear from him on the other side in Vegas.